Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here. Welcome back to Mass Effect 3. I thought I would maybe take this time, since I've already put up an episode earlier today, to go through some of the Codex entries, and I'll probably do these in chunks, and hopefully we can figure out a way to make them cohesive. There's a lot of them, but I think getting them done early would be great so that as we get new ones, we can just read them as we go type of thing. I'm starting to think whether or not we want to go with like a primary or secondary starting point from a Codex perspective, but I'm pretty sure all of these ones get read automatically and then these ones don't. So maybe what we do is, see, we've got 5 things for aliens, and then we've got Citadel and Galactic Government for both, Humanity and Systems Alliance. Organizations could go with organizations here and known associates. So maybe we do it like that. We do it in kind of packages. So this first one, we're going to do all the aliens and see what comes of that. We'll start here. We've got extinct and non-council. So in terms of council species, let's get started with
Asari were the first species to discover the Citadel. When the Solarians arrived, it was the Asari who proposed the establishment of the Citadel Council to maintain peace throughout the galaxy. Since then, the Asari have served as the mediators and centrists of the Council. An all-female race, the Asari reproduce through a form of parthenogenesis. Each Asari can attune her nervous system to that of another individual of any gender and of any species to reproduce. This capability has led to unseemly and inaccurate rumors about Asari promiscuity. Asari can live for over 1,000 years, passing through 3 stages of life. In the maiden stage, they wander restlessly, seeking new knowledge and experience. When the matron stage begins, they meld with interesting partners to produce their offspring. This ends when they reach the matriarch stage, where they assume the roles of leaders and counselors.
It's interesting that they talk about interesting partners to produce their offspring, because I remember talking to Liara, I think in the first one, and she was explaining some of the different things that they look for, and it's pretty cool.
The second species to join the Citadel, the Solarians, are warm-blooded amphibians with a hyperactive metabolism. Solarians think fast, talk fast, and move fast. To Solarians, other species seem sluggish and dull-witted. Unfortunately, their metabolic speed leaves them with a relatively short lifespan. Solarians over the age of 40 are a rarity. The Solarians were responsible for advancing the development of the primitive Krogan species to use as soldiers during the Rachni Wars. They were also behind the creation of the genophage bioweapon the Turians used to quell the Krogan rebellions several centuries later. Solarians are known for their observational capability and non-linear thinking. This manifests as an aptitude for research and espionage. They are constantly experimenting and inventing, and it is generally accepted that they always know more than they're letting on.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. These are actually, this is probably my favorite, I guess, race or species of all of them. Really, really cool.
Roughly 1,200 years ago, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council to fulfill the role of galactic peacekeepers. The Turians have the largest fleet in Citadel space, and they make up the single largest portion of the Council's military forces. As their territory and influence has spread, the Turians have come to rely on the Solarians for military intelligence and the Asari for diplomacy. Despite a somewhat colonial attitude towards the rest of the galaxy, the ruling hierarchy understands they would lose more than they would gain if the other 2 races were ever removed. Turians come from an autocratic society that values discipline and possesses a strong sense of personal and collective honor. There is lingering animosity between Turians and humans over the First Contact War of 2157, which is known as the Relay 314 incident to the Turians.
Interesting.
Officially, however, the 2 species are allies, and they enjoy civil, if cool, diplomatic relations.
So we know a little bit about the First Contact War, and the Turians are just basically our militaristic groups. So, okay, so we've got council species. Now we'll go to extinct species, and then we'll go over to the secondary extinct species.
50,000 years ago, the Protheans were the only spacefaring species in the galaxy. They vanished in a swift galactic extinction. Only the legacy of their empire remains. They are believed to have built the mass relays and the Citadel, which have allowed numerous species to explore and expand throughout the galaxy. Prothean ruins are found on worlds across the galaxy. While surprisingly intact for their age, functioning examples of Prothean paleotechnology are rare. Time and generations of looters have picked their dead cities and derelict stations clean. Some believe the Protheans meddled in the evolution of younger races. The Hanar homeworld of Kage, for example, shows clear evidence of former Prothean occupation.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
The presence of a former Prothean observation post on Mars has caused a rebirth of interventionary evolutionists among humans. These individuals believe the god myths of ancient civilizations are misremembered encounters with aliens.
Creepy. Okay. So now let's go to extinct. Instead of species, it's races, but same thing. Rachni. Though now extinct, the Rachni once threatened every species in Citadel space. Over 2,000 years ago, explorers foolishly opened a mass relay to a previously unknown system and encountered something never seen before or since, a species of spacefaring insects guided by a hive mind intelligence. Unfortunately, the Rachni were not peaceful, and the galaxy was plunged into a series of conflicts known as the Rachni Wars. Attempts to negotiate were futile, as it was impossible to make contact with the hive queens that guided the race from beneath the surface of their toxic homeworld. The emergence of the Krogan ended the Rachni Wars. Bred to survive the harshest environments, the Krogan were able to strike at the queens in their lairs and reclaim conquered council worlds. But when Krogan fleets pressed them back to their homeworld, the Rachni refused to surrender, and the Krogan eradicated them from the galaxy. Beautiful. Okay. Now to non-council races.
In the early 2160s, the Alliance began aggressive colonization of worlds in the Skyllian Verge, much to the dismay of the Batarians, who had been developing the region for several decades. In 2171, the Batarians petitioned the Council to declare the Verge a zone of Batarian interest. The Council refused, however, declaring unsettled worlds in the region open to human colonization. In protest, the Batarians closed their Citadel embassy and severed official diplomatic relations with the Council, effectively becoming a rogue state. They instigated a proxy war in the Verge by funneling money and weapons to criminal organizations, urging them to strike at human colonies. Hostilities peaked with the Skyllian Blitz of 2176, an attack on the human capital of Elysium by Batarian-funded pirates and slavers. In 2178, the Alliance retaliated with a crushing assault on the moon of Torfan, long used as a staging base by Batarian-backed criminals. In the aftermath, the Batarians retreated into their own systems and are now rarely seen in Citadel space.
Okay.
2 centuries ago, the Hanar helped 375,000 members of the Drell race migrate to the Hanar homeworld Kage to escape the environmental extermination that had claimed the remaining 11 billion Drell. Nearly all Drell demonstrate tremendous loyalty to their famously reclusive saviors. The intimacy of their relationship, expressed in a formal socio-political alliance called the Compact, also results in extremely close personal relations, in which some Drell actually learn Hanar soul names. While most Drell reside on Kage, some assist Hanar off-world as envoys, researchers, co-investors, wayfarers, assassins, or otherwise, eager to help their saviors. For a century, galactic wisdom has held that behind any high-ranking Hanar hides a resourceful and fanatically devoted Drell. The omnivorous reptilian Drell possess an average lifespan of 85 galactic standard years. Having evolved on an arid planet, Drell face serious illness on the Hanar homeworld, especially Kepral's syndrome, a fatal bacterial lung disease.
Crazy. And that's what Thane has, I believe. Does he not? Interesting. One thing I've noticed a lot is different life expectations of the different species. And I wonder if they kind of follow the general rule of, you know, roughly 1 billion heartbeats until you die. I wonder if that's the case in this universe. Anyways, Elcor, my favorite.
The Elcor are a citadel
real
species
favorite.
native to the high-gravity world Dakuna. They are massive creatures standing on 4 muscular legs for increased stability. Elcor move slowly, an evolved response to an environment where a fall can be lethal. This has colored their psychology, making them deliberate and conservative. Elcor speech is ponderous and monotone. Among themselves, scent, slight movements, and subvocalized infrasound convey shades of meaning that make a human smile seem as subtle as a fireworks display. Since their subtlety can lead to misunderstandings with other species, the Elcor often go out of their way to clarify when they are being sarcastic, amused, or angry. Dakuna's high gravity impedes mountain formation. Most of the world consists of flat, open plains, which prehistoric Elcor wandered across in small family bands. Modern Elcor still prefer open sky, and can become restless and uncomfortable on long starship journeys.
Their body structure would indicate that they need those lands that are just open plains. They probably can't climb very well, I assume.
The Geth are a humanoid race of networked AIs. They were created by the Quarians 300 years ago as tools of labor and war. When the Geth showed signs of self-evolution, the Quarians attempted to exterminate them. The Geth won the resulting war. This example has led to legal, systematic repression of artificial intelligences in galactic society. The Geth possess a unique distributed intelligence. An individual has rudimentary animal instincts, but as their numbers and proximity increase, the apparent intelligence of each individual improves. In groups, they can reason, analyze situations, and use tactics as well as any organic race. Geth space is located at the trailing end of the Perseus Arm, beyond the lawless Terminus systems. The Perseus Veil, an obscuring dark nebula of opaque gas and dust, lies between their space and the Terminus systems.
So much stronger in numbers, which makes sense as they can kind of communicate between each other and improve their tactics.
The Hanar are a citadel species known for excessive politeness. They speak with scrupulous precision and take offense at improper language. Hanar that expect to deal with other species take special courses to help them unlearn their tendency to take offense at improper speech.
My buddy Grelite's
All
a Hanar, I
Hanar
think.
have 2 names. The face name is known to the world. The soul name is kept for use among close friends and relations. Hanar never refer to themselves in the first person in conversation with someone they know on a face name basis. To do so is considered egotistical, so instead they refer to themselves as this one, or the impersonal it.
Interesting.
Their homeworld, Kage, has 90% ocean cover and orbits an energetic white star, resulting in a permanent blanket of clouds. Due to the presence of Prothean ruins on the world, many Hanar worship them, and Hanar myths often speak of an elder race that civilized them by teaching them language.
Really cool.
When the Asari discovered the Citadel, they also discovered the Keepers, a docile, multi-limbed insect race that seemingly exists only to maintain and repair the great Prothean station. Early attempts to communicate with or study the Keepers were failures, and it is now illegal to interfere with or impede Keeper activity. Because they are completely non-threatening, Keepers have become virtually invisible to everyone else. Similarly, they seem indifferent to other species, except for their tendency to help new arrivals integrate themselves into the Citadel.
Okay, interesting.
No matter how many Keepers die due to old age, violence, or accident, they maintain a constant number. No one has discovered the source of new Keepers, but some hypothesize they are genetic constructs, biological androids created somewhere deep in the inaccessible core of the Citadel itself.
It would be really cool if the Keepers ended up being something much more than just these maintenance workers, essentially.
The Krogan evolved in a hostile and vicious environment. Until the invention of gunpowder weapons, eaten by predators was still the #1 cause of Krogan fatalities. Afterwards, it was death by gunshot. When the Solarians discovered them, the Krogan were a brutal, primitive species struggling to survive a self-inflicted nuclear winter. The Solarians culturally uplifted them teaching them to use and build modern technology so they could serve as soldiers in the Rachni War. Liberated from the harsh conditions of their homeworld, the quick-breeding Krogan experienced an unprecedented population explosion. They began to colonize nearby worlds, even though these worlds were already inhabited. The Krogan rebellions lasted nearly a century, only ending when the Turians unleashed the Genophage, a Solarian-developed bioweapon that crushed all Krogan resistance. The Genophage makes only 1 in 1,000 pregnancies viable, and today the Krogan are a slowly dying breed. Understandably, the Krogan harbor a grudge against all other species, especially the Turians.
You'd think, I mean, I know they're anti-Turian, I know they're obviously anti-Solarian as well, but I don't know, like, you kind of think that the Solarians are probably more at fault here. They developed this thing. The Turians just said, yeah, we'll use that. But I don't know, I guess it's both of them are responsible.
Driven from their home system by the Geth nearly 3 centuries ago, most Quarians now live aboard the Migrant Fleet, a flotilla of 50,000 vessels ranging in size from passenger shuttles to mobile space stations. Home to 17 million Quarians, the flotilla understandably has scarce resources. Because of this, each Quarian must go on a rite of passage known as the Pilgrimage when they come of age. They leave the fleet and only return once they have found something of value they can bring back to their people. Other species tend to look down on the Quarians for creating the Geth and for the negative impact their fleet has when it enters a system. This has led to many myths and rumors about the Quarians, including the belief that underneath their clothes and breathing masks, they are actually cybernetic creatures, a combination of organic and synthetic parts.
So, talking about the pilgrimage, we heard about this earlier, that even right now, they're looking at having everybody on a pilgrimage come back and get ready to fight. So it's obviously really serious.
The Volus are a member species of the Citadel with their own embassy, but they are also a client race of the Turians. Centuries ago, they were voluntarily absorbed into the hierarchy, effectively trading their mercantile prowess for Turian military protection. Irun, their home world, lies far beyond the normal life zone of its star. However, the world has a high-pressure greenhouse atmosphere that traps enough heat to support an ammonia-based biochemistry. As a result, the Volus must wear pressure suits and breathers when dealing with other species, as conventional nitrogen-oxygen air mixtures are poisonous to them, and in the low-pressure atmospheres tolerable to most species, their flesh will actually split open. Volus culture is tribal, bartering lands and even people to gain status. This culture of exchange inclines them to economic pursuits. It was the Volus who authorized the Unified Banking Act, and they continue to monitor and balance the Citadel economy.
The financiers of galactic space. Beautiful. Okay, so that's non-council races. Let's check out non-council races on this side. So the Collectors, living beyond the Omega-4 mass relay and the Terminus systems, the mysterious Collector species is glimpsed so rarely as to be taken for a myth by most in galactic society. In reality, Collectors are human-sized insectoid bipeds and can resemble massive winged beetles. They are a terrifying force in the galaxy, responsible for the murder of hundreds of thousands. Collectors generate permanent stasis fields around themselves, creating nightmarish red-shifted energy fields. In battle, they hold position whenever possible, relying on their aggressive biotics and nearly limitless power. Several types of bipedal or bipedal Collectors have been identified, including minions, defenders, zealots, assassins, and artillery operators. Acting together, Collectors have imprisoned entire cities in stasis. While no definitive forensic accounting exists to explain the fate of those imprisoned, leading speculation is that victims are harvested for scientific experimentation and neurobiological repurposing. That's where we saw these guys abducting people. And I think that actually started on Eden Prime, if I'm not mistaken. Varen are omnivore, or that maybe not started, but I think that's where we first, like, as not humanity, maybe humanity, or on our missions, let's just say, that's where we first ran into them. Varen are omnivores with a preference for living prey. Originally native to the Krogan homeworld of Tuchanka, they are, like most life from Tuchanka, savage, clannish, and consummate survivors. They are pack hunters when vulnerable prey is readily available and become scavengers when outnumbered or outclassed. Their supreme adaptability, vicious demeanor, and rapid breeding cycle have made them ubiquitous and dangerous pests on many worlds. Virtually everywhere the Krogan have been, Varan infestations have followed, wreaking havoc with the native ecology. The Krogan have had a love-hate relationship with Varan for millennia, alternately fighting them for territory and embracing them as treasured companions. To this day, Krogan raise them as beasts of war. A common subgenus of Varan has metallic silver scales, leading to the rather unusual nickname fish dogs. Weird. Vorcha. Although they resemble a mammal-reptile cross, the Vorcha have no terrestrial analog. They are humanoid in form, but Vorcha have clusters of non-differentiated neoblast cells like those of Earth's planarian worms. Ugh. Damaged Vorcha cells mature into specialized structures to alleviate injury or stress. Transformations include thicker skin following injury, lung adaptations for barely breathable atmospheres, and stronger cardioskeletal muscle under high gravity. Skull capacity and brain size do not change, and Vorcha rarely make more than one somatic overhaul. Vorcha assault each other frequently, causing their young to gain strength, intelligence, and resilience. As a result, Vorcha see inflicting and receiving pain as normal communication. Few Vorcha study professions, in part because the average life expectancy is only 20 years. Because Vorcha can eat and breathe nearly anything, they can live almost anywhere, but racism prevents them from integrating into most societies that dismiss them as vermin. They have few employment options beyond Krogan mercenary bands. Tough life for the Vorcha. And then Yags. The Yag are a race of massive apex predators from the world of Parnak, whose rise to sentience in no way blunted their violent nature. A group of Yag is unable to cooperate until a single leader has been determined through their social maneuvering or brute force, but no grudges are held once a Yag establishes dominance. Former rivals serve their new superiors' purpose with unflinching loyalty and relentless determination, a legacy of their origin as a pack species. Their 8 eyes are another sign of their hunter ancestry. All 4 pairs are geared toward tracking down and predicting the movements of prey. Sophisticated and keenly developed sensitivity to movement and light have made Yag masters at reading body language regardless of species. Much to their short-lived chagrin, the Council's first contact teams discovered it was nearly impossible to lie to the Yag. The Yag had technology equivalent to 20th century Earth standards when they were discovered by the Council in 2125. The Council's ambassadors approached the Yag as friends and allies instead of subordinates, a baffling sign of contempt from newcomers on Parnak. The Yag attacked, and when it became apparent that the alien diplomats stubbornly considered themselves sovereign people instead of new underlings. Interesting. Parnak remains off-limits by order of the Council, which fears that the Yag's size, aggression, and obsession with control make them poorly suited for integration into the galactic community. I would agree. Okay. And I think that covers off all of the alien sections. So that'll be the end of this episode. The next episode will probably include up to, let's say, probably organizations, but it depends how much information's going on. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I'm open to suggestions on how to handle the Codex entries. So I do want to go through all of them. I'm thinking we kind of go through all of them right now to have a base, and then when any new ones come up, as long as we're not like middle of a battle, we can take some time. It takes about 20 to 30 seconds each to go through it, and then we're just up to speed, and anything new that comes in just gets added to our knowledge. So let me know what you think, and we'll see you guys next time.